Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. I've been asked this quite a lot and I thought, you know what, we're not going to do things by halves, we're going to go straight in, dive into PCOS and my journey and how to manage it, backed by evidence. Let's talk about what is PCOS. Estimated to affect within around 8 to 13% of women. PCOS can cause hormonal imbalances, irregular periods, excess androgen levels, cysts in ovaries, irregular periods. A lot of women can struggle to become pregnant, and it's the leading cause of infertility. PCOS is a chronic condition, which means chronic is it can't be cured. If you have PCOS, your lifetime will be spent trying to manage your symptoms, but you won't have anything that can necessarily treat your symptoms. The symptoms can honestly range so vastly from woman to woman. For me, it affects me mostly through my acne, which is something that we'll go into in the video of how I've personally managed to treat that and get to a place where I feel like my skin is in a really good place, but for the longest time I've really struggled with that. But some other symptoms that can occur: heavy, long, unpredictable or absent periods, infertility, acne or oily skin, which is something that I have, excessive hair on the face or body. This is a really common one with PCOS. Male pattern baldness or hair thinning. Again, it's so funny because I just said acne is the only thing that affects me, but I'm actually thinking no, this is also something that affects me. Thinning of hair for me, especially around the top end. People with PCOS are more likely to also have health conditions including type 2 diabetes, hypertension, which is high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, endometrial cancer. But not only that, because of the symptoms that women face and because it's a chronic condition, it's something that a lot of women will experience anxiety and depression as a result of having to deal with these symptoms. There's 3 main ways that you can get diagnosed. One of them is with signs of or symptoms of higher androgens, which is that male hormone. That's the thing that's causing the unwanted facial hair or the acne or elevated blood levels of testosterone. And this can be found by looking at your hormone levels as an indicator. You can also have a sign of irregular or no periods at all. That's another very clear sign. And the other one is polycystic ovaries, being able to actually see them on an ultrasound. This is how I actually found out that I had PCOS. If I just go into my journey with finding out, because for me, when I had my diagnosis, it was nothing more than I was having bladder problems and I went in for an ultrasound and they couldn't find what it was they were looking for, but the nurse decided to tell me, "Oh, do you know that you've got PCOS?" And I was like, "Huh?" And she's like, "You got cysts on your ovaries." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so what does this mean now?" And she was like, "Well, I'll email your doctor." But honestly, beyond that, I really haven't had anything else. The woman had said to me in that appointment when I was getting that ultrasound, it might be a case that in the future you struggle to have children. And so for me, I was about I think I was 17, around that age or something. That felt really, it felt like what she said was held a lot of weight, and I didn't know what to do about it. And I actually didn't receive any more help with that at all from my experience with the NHS in the UK. It's very much a case of well, there's nothing we can do right now because there's no treatment for it, but if it causes you problems in the future, you're trying to have children or whatever, and you can't, then that's when we'll treat it. Fast forward until 2 years ago, and I have this real flare up of hormonal acne. My PCOS was really really affected me by way of having acne, and it's something that I've really struggled with for the past couple of years. It's really affected my confidence and my self-worth. Now I've managed to treat it, which I'll go on to explain, but now I've got a lot of scarring on my face. And so yeah, that's just one case study, one example of someone who has PCOS. Many people with PCOS are found to have higher than normal insulin levels. Insulin is a hormone that is produced in the pancreas, and it helps the cells in the body turn sugar, glucose, into energy. If you don't produce enough insulin, your blood sugar levels can rise. If you have insulin resistance, your body may try to pump out higher levels of insulin in an effort to keep your blood sugar levels lower. Too high levels of insulin can cause your ovaries to produce more androgens like testosterone, and so then that is obviously something that's going to contribute to the excess facial hair growth or the acne. So you can see how these things that aren't so obvious actually do play quite a big factor in how your symptoms are presenting themselves. Insulin resistance can also be caused by having a higher body mass index. So if you are more overweight than like what you should be, then that can also have a effect on you. With your diet, let's talk about what foods we will add into our PCOS diet. So basically, with your diet, you want to go for a diet that is full of lots of protein, lots of fibre, and also things that are anti-inflammatories. So these could be tomatoes, kale, spinach. It could also be fatty fish high in omega-3 fatty acids, or it could be like turmeric is an excellent one, turmeric, I don't know how you say it. Berries and strawberries, although with that you do want to make sure you're just a little bit careful, because even if a fruit is healthy, unfortunately the body just sees it as sugar. You want to avoid foods that are high in carbohydrates, muffins or like white breads or like anything with white flour, just because this is going to cause insulin spikes. There are some really helpful resources if you guys are interested. The one that everybody knows is Glucose Goddess, and she, on her Instagram, she helps you really understand how the foods you eat have an impact on this insulin spike that we're talking about. And if you're, for example, having something sugary, if you just maybe have some cheese with it that's like fatty, or you have some yogurt beforehand, or some like a leafy green salad, you can minimize that spike, which means in turn it's gonna reduce like how all of these things are having a knock-on effect on your symptoms. So I'd say that's mostly how I try to like manage my symptoms, is through what I'm eating, making sure that I'm not going for like super starchy foods. When I'm plating up my food, I will go for like half a plate of like veg, really green foods, a decent amount of protein, always with every meal. If you're a gym girl anyway, you'd be doing that. There is suggestion that resistance training and strength training does really help with lowering your insulin levels. One of the body's major consumers of glucose is the muscle cells. So obviously if you're training and you're exercising a lot, then your body's going to be using that, which can be really helpful in kind of getting rid of that like excess insulin in your body. I also found a article that was talking about how in most women strength training will increase androgen levels, but in PCOS it actually was found to reduce androgen levels. So I found that interesting. I think like what I come to realize with PCOS is it is just like there's just not enough research or like evidence out there to help women, so it really is a case of kind of just finding like what works for you and trying these things that people are suggesting can help manage, and then seeing if it works for you. There might be some things where you're like, actually, you know what, I don't even struggle with that, and I've not noticed a difference. Some things might be completely and utterly life-changing. With PCOS, there's a lot of like health conditions like heart disease and many other ones which I'll list here that can affect your body. So just generally, people with higher BMI body mass indexes were found to struggle more with their symptoms being a lot more present. It was spoke about quite a lot at length that women with PCOS do really struggle with their mental health as a result of like having these symptoms that they can't, quote unquote treat. So if nothing else, exercising is really beneficial for increasing the endorphins and making you feel good about yourself. because of the numerous manifestations of PCOS involving cardiovascular, metabolic and reproductive health, a lifestyle intervention that includes gradual weight loss, sustainable diet, aerobic exercise and resistance training is recommended as the primary approach to improving the syndrome. I now just want to talk a little bit about like the more medical side of things. My acne was getting worse and worse and worse, and it was not going. Every day I would get like cystic acne, and it was very angry and very painful, and I would get really upset about it. So I made the decision to go to a dermatologist, and I had a blood test where they analysed like what my hormone levels were like in the blood. I was given two choices: go on Roaccutane or I can try spironolactone. She said to me, look, you can try spironolactone, but there is a chance that it might not work, and that means that, like, you know, your acne is present for another reason other than you having like higher androgen levels or surges of androgen levels. So I gave it a go, and pretty much as soon as I did, I had really like positive results, and I've been on it for like a few months now, and I'm really pleased with how it's gone. My dosage has like fluctuated quite a bit throughout like the months, dependent on like how my blood tests are coming back. I have had like a little bit of concern, well, the doctors had a little bit of concern about like my how my kidneys are responding with this drug, so we're just making sure to like monitor that. So yeah, I do want to just say that I've had like a really positive response to that. Obviously it's very different and very individual based on like so many factors. Another thing that is used as a treatment is the combined oral contraceptive pill, which is usually used to treat excessive hair growth and hair loss, and it's great for like acne as well. For me, I felt like that wasn't the right decision for me because I've used that in the past, and I had quite a like intense reaction with just having excess hormones in my body, and it affected my mental health. So that was like an option that I decided to, or like an avenue I decided to not go down. One final thing that I do want to mention is about cortisol. Now, cortisol is basically the hormone that your body releases in response to stress. Lucky for us PCOS girlies, we are found to often have a lot more higher levels of cortisol than people who do not have PCOS. So what does this mean? Well, cortisol can actually be responsible for quite a vast list of symptoms. These can include acne, facial hair, irregular menstrual cycles, weight gain around the abdomen and the face, digestive issues, difficulty sleeping, fatigue, craving unhealthy foods, low libido, anxiety, depression. So it's like you're listening to this and thinking, oh, aren't those all the things that people with PCOS suffer from? Yes, it is. So it's really crucial to try to minimize all of your like stress in your life, because this does have a knock-on effect on how your symptoms are manifesting themselves and at what intensity they're sort of coming through. I do remember when I had my dermatologist appointment, she was saying, you know, there's many factors for why you're having acne. It could be your androgen levels, it could be like surface dirt or oil or whatever, but it also could be stress, and it could be diet or whatever. And it's like, I am a stress head by nature, and I really try hard not to be. And I think if I can say anything to like help for this video, like I have really tried to take measures to slow down and to be mindful and to just really try to be present, even down to like just like being on my phone and like consuming things on my phone less. Like I really am trying. I'm not saying I'm there, but I'm trying, because I do see that it does have a correlation. Like the stress that you are under has an effect on your body, and especially as someone with PCOS, it's really important that you actually are aware of that and you're mindful of that and you take notice. Journaling or meditation, or like even just a moment of like deep breathing, making sure I'm getting enough sleep. This is really, really important for me. Like, I know everyone's been going crazy recently about like that new study that's come out saying that women actually need more than 8 hours, which is like, yeah, particularly even more when you're at certain phases of your cycle. For me as well, I was thinking about this the other day, like I get so much happiness and so much peace from cooking. Like that's something that really like allows me to just like really slow down, so definitely would recommend that. And also just having an anti-inflammatory diet, which is those things that we spoke about earlier. But yeah, so I think that is everything. I think I've really gone through everything now. I hope that was of some value for you, and I hope that this kind of lessens the stigma, if there is one, or lack of sort of conversation or narrative there is around PCOS. So that's what I'm doing, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did get this far, please could you give us a like, comment and subscribe. So many of you guys that are regular watchers do not subscribe, so it would make my day if you could do that. And yeah, have a lovely week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!